Today, I'll be giving a hitchhiker's guide to Dante's Inferno. Now, there's still time to turn back, but if you stay, please like and follow. This is part 2 of my early humanist writers of the Renaissance. Dante Alighieri's masterpiece, The Divine Comedies, is an epic poem, to say the least. Part 1 is Inferno, 2 is on Purgatory, and 3 is on Heaven. No one really cares about the other two. Let's get into Inferno. This is a fiction. I could even say a fan fiction, getting into the ideas of what each ring of hell would look like in his own perspective. So this isn't backed up by a church. It's just what he thought. So our hero Dante starts off with climbing a mountain trying to get to heaven. However, he can't go. Now Dante gets approached by a man dressed like a Roman by the name of Virgil. The Virgil. The one who wrote the Aeneid. And Dante's own, hero. Even before the Renaissance, you have the ideas of people going back and rehashing out this knowledge. So this book is filled with stuff from the Aeneid, the Iliad, the Odyssey, and other things that are going around in Italy at the same time. Now, hell is broken down into 2 main groups. The first part for the lesser sins, or the sins of the body, and the second part for the sins of the soul. There are also 2 rivers in hell. The Acheron, which is in the very beginning of hell, and of course, Styx. Dante is shocked to meet Virgil, and as he does, Virgil gives him a note that's from his wife Beatrice, who committed suicide and is in hell. It's not really explained, but I think the plan is to get her out of hell and then go up to heaven through purgatory. So as they approach the door, he starts complaining about the sound of people screaming, and Virgil's like, "It's hell, bro." Enter into the doorway, they have to cross the river Acheron, and they find themselves in Limbo, which is the first ring of hell. Now this is for unbaptized babies, according to the Catholic Church, and the Virgin Mary and a few other people that were rescued by Jesus. Dante takes a cooler swing at this, though. He does in a very humanist fashion, as he adds a whole bunch of Greeks and Romans. Mainly Romans. Dante hates the Greeks, and you'll see why in this. So in this level, we have Horace, we have Ovid, we have Homer. Hector's here, Julius Caesar's here, and Virgil even says this is where he resides. And the reason they're here is they led good lives, but they're not Christians. They can't go to heaven, so therefore they must stay in limbo. I'm going to blow your mind. According to the Catholic Church doctrine, only unbaptized babies go to limbo. If you think you lived an all right life, you would go to purgatory, you might say. Ooh, great. Well, purgatory is not what you think it is. Purgatory is hell, but after 10,000 years, you can go to heaven. Now, as he moves into the second ring of hell, we get to lust. Apparently, there's this massive storm that's non-stop, and it just blows you away the whole time, and there is no possibility of rest. Now, there are some characters here. Paris is here, Achilles is here, Helen of Troy, Cleopatra, all kind of being tortured at this level. Moving on into the third realm of hell, we have gluttony. Here, people that ate excessively in life or drank excessively are suffering here. And what happens is they're all stuck in this constant rainstorm of shit, stuck in the mud. And that's their punishment for eternity. Guarding this realm, we have Cerberus, the dog that guarded the underworld, according to the Greeks. And if you notice, it's going to start getting worse as it gets further down. Moving into the fourth circle, we get abhorrence, or greed. At this location, we have people that are taking massive boulders, not taking them up the hill, but they're running full speed into each other, non-stop for eternity. By the fifth circle of hell, we are going into hell proper. We're transitioning from the body sins to the soul sins. In order to get into this ring, they have to cross the river Styx. Now, Virgil explains that this is a really, really bad place. So don't make eye contact with anyone and try to look inconspicuous. So this is a circle for wrathfulness. So revenge, things of that nature. Souls are stuck in the river Styx fighting each other non-stop for eternity. As they move off the river Styx, they find themselves in front of a city and a wall, guarded by demons. Now, out of nowhere, Medusa attacks the two of them. Virgil jumps in front of Dante, trying to protect him, and then divine intervention happens. An angel flies down, grabs them, and moves them along. Why? I don't know. So as they're flown through this area, they're looking down and they're seeing heretics that are burning. You know what a heretic is? It's someone who takes a message in their own way. They don't follow the Catholic faith, they make their own faith up, or they're Protestants or whatever. Now, the seventh circle is where we'll have violent murderers, blasphemers, sodomites, and usuriers, or usury, is when you lend another Christian money with the purpose of getting interest back for your investment. Clearly, the 1300s they thought was a really bad thing. This is why oftentimes Jewish moneylenders are the ones giving out money and having debt collected by all these different people, which cause all sorts of pogroms or mass murder of the Jews. So they approach a river, and there they see a bunch of centaurs with bow and arrows shooting at people. And next to it is a river of blood, boiling blood, where all these people are biting to get out of the river, and they're getting shot to pieces by these arrows. In this circle, we spot Alexander the Great, Attila the Hun, and the Greek god Dionysus. As they keep moving, they approach the Suicide Forest. Not the one in Japan by Mount Fuji, but the Suicide Forest in this. Finally, Dante gets reunited with Beatrice. Yay. But now hell is ramping up, and as they approach further on, they go into a desert where it rains fire. Non-stop fire. Now, they run into a cliff, and there's nowhere to go, so they actually ask a demon to fly them to the next level, which he does. I don't know why. Made it to the 8th circle of hell. So this is generally classic hell, as you might imagine it. But on top of it, there's weird stuff here going on. This is also the circle for simony. Now, simony is when you sell religious positions or positions of power for money, which the Catholic Church was notorious for doing that in the 13th, 14th, 15th, well, I'd say going all the way up until modern day. In the realm of simony, we run into the Pope, or the old Pope, Boniface VIII, who actually got killed in Alighieri, if you recall from my other videos. Now, he and many others have their heads down in the mud, their legs sticking up, and they're on fire. And he is screaming out one person's name, and that's Clement V, who's the current pope, who he thought was very corrupt and took his position. Now, there are others in this area too. You have false prophets, you have sorcerers, oh yeah, and astronomers that are also burning here for getting the message wrong. Well, they find themselves at another lake, in which this is a boiling lake of tar, guarded by demons, in which one of them explains to Dante that this is a lake where politicians go, which I could see it. So the demons actually ask Dante, like, do you know any bad politicians you think would be burning down here? So Dante gives them like 2 or 3 from his time, and they know exactly who they are. They go down there, pull them out, and they start torturing them in front of Dante. Now, when that happens, one of these individuals escapes and sinks back down in the mud before the demons can get a hold of him. And the demons are furious, and they're blaming Dante now. So now Dante has to flee. So they get away from this lake, but they go to this weird little babbling brook. And it's not water, it's fire. And inside there, this is the brook of fraud, where anyone who's committed fraud or mistrust or whatever are burning there for eternity. And there he spots Odysseus, the man who came up with the Trojan horse. Where Dante did not like the Greeks, did not like the whole Trojan War, and was a huge fan of Virgil, who wrote the Aeneid, which is about the guy who escapes Troy and finds Rome. As they're moving through this area, they also see a prophet from another religion, a really famous one, which I can't show you images of, getting his head cut off by a demon. They finally get to the 9th circle of hell. And one thing they've noticed, it's really, really cold. It's freezing. You might say, how is that even possible? Well, the idea that Dante was trying to push out there was they were so far away from God's love, there's no warmth. And this is for the worst of the worst, the traitors. If you're still with me, can you think of any traitors that you put in this circle of hell? I have a few that I have in mind. Here they come across the devil stuck in the ice. Now, he's hot, but the water is frozen. So he is constantly moving around, melting the ice, and then it refreezes on him. In his mouth, he has 3 people, which is totally a play off of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The first 2 are Cassius and Brutus, the guys that betrayed Julius Caesar. Remember, this is a total Renaissance thing. And the third guy is pretty obvious, Judas, the guy who betrayed Jesus. So now they're through all 9 levels, and they're going to come out the other side, which starts the next book, which is on purgatory. So what's the takeaway from this? Well, he is very religious, obviously, but he does have tendencies. He's talking about the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans and kind of mixing it all in. So you can kind of look at this work as kind of a transitioning period from the High Middle Ages to the Renaissance. Clearly still very religious, which even the Renaissance, they are very religious. They don't really get that anti-religion aspect until the Enlightenment. Part 3 will be on Boccaccio.